There's a kind of silence that isn't the absence of sound, it's the absence of yourself. A sort of existential fatigue, a hunger that never feels satisfied, a thirst that never truly fades. You try to fill it with love, with work, with distractions, with promises of happiness. But deep down, there's always that echo, that unsettling feeling, that invisible hole, constantly reminding you that something is out of place. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This void, it doesn't come from the outside. It's born within, born from disconnection, from denial, from all the forgotten, rejected, and abandoned parts of you, left behind in the shadows of your unconscious. Today, I invite you to a crossing, a brave journey inward. Together, we'll walk down the steps of the unconscious, face everything you've spent your life avoiding, and finally understand why no one can ever fill this void and how Jung shows you the way back to yourself. If this already speaks to something deep inside you, type in the comments, "I feel this void," and hit subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Imagine living in a world where everything seems to be in place, and yet somehow everything feels disconnected. You wake up, you work, you smile, you play every role that society expects from you. And still, in the quiet of your own mind, there's this echo, a nameless discomfort, a strange absence that's impossible to explain. This void, it doesn't just show up overnight, it's built slowly. Every time you ignore your intuition, every time you say yes when your soul is screaming no, every time you betray yourself just to fit in, to be accepted, to be loved, it's like, piece by piece, you start fading, until all that's left is the shell of someone who was once whole. Jung called this the existential void, an inner fracture, born from disconnection with your own essence. In the rush to be functional, to be productive, to be lovable, to be accepted, we drift further and further away from who we truly are. And the more we try to fill this emptiness with the external world, with love, with success, with money, with distractions, the bigger that hole seems to grow. But hear this. This void isn't weakness. It's not a flaw. It's a sign, a calling, a loud reminder that you've become disconnected from yourself. And no amount of external validation, no achievement, no applause, no love can ever fill the space that only your truth was meant to occupy. The real problem? We live in a society that pathologizes the void. It teaches you to run from it, to numb it, with shopping, with likes, with work, with alcohol, with disposable relationships. But the void, it doesn't go away. It follows you. It whispers to you in the middle of the night. It tightens your chest when everything is supposed to feel fine, but it just doesn't. And you? Have you noticed how you try to fill this void? Type it in the comments. I try to fill it with Picture this, a dark basement, locked, forgotten. Inside, live all the parts of you that were once rejected. Your insecurities, your fears, your forbidden desires, your pain, your anger, your sadness, all the truths you were told you shouldn't have. Carl Jung called this place the shadow. It's everything you've pushed out of your conscious mind in your desperate attempt to be accepted, to be loved, to fit in. But here's the thing. What you reject doesn't disappear. It just hides. And in the darkness, it starts to rule you. The shadow doesn't show up like some obvious monster. It wears disguises. It shows up as unexplained anxiety, procrastination, emotional emptiness, codependency, addictions, toxic relationships, self-sabotage. It puts on masks and convinces you that this is just who you are. But deep down, these are disowned parts of you, screaming for light. And this is where the void starts to scream even louder. Because while you try to fill your life from the outside, your shadow keeps growing on the inside. But listen, it's not here to destroy you. It doesn't want to break you. It just wants to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be integrated. The biggest mistake? Believing that happiness means getting rid of your shadow. No. Happiness is learning how to live with it. It's embracing your wholeness. It's realizing that light can only exist because there's darkness, and denying your own shadow is like denying half of your own soul. So tell me, is there something inside you that you've been trying to ignore? Type it in the comments. I recognize my shadow. Imagine being trapped in an invisible labyrinth, a place where every exit somehow leads you right back to the same place, yourself, but not the whole you. A shattered version, fragmented, split between who you truly are and who you've learned to pretend to be. The emptiness that follows you isn't just empty space, it's the reflection of every failed attempt to fill your own absence. You search for love, but chase after those who reject you. You chase success, but sabotage yourself halfway there. You crave peace, but drown in distractions, numbing the pain, but never healing it. This is the cycle of self-sabotage, and it begins the moment you start running from your shadow, because running from yourself creates a kind of pain that nothing and no one can fix. So you run. You run anywhere that keeps you from facing yourself. Shallow relationships, compulsions, perfectionism, relentless self-pressure, addictions, disguised as productivity. But here's the truth. The labyrinth is inside, and the more you run, the more you realize there is no way out there, because the only way out has always been inward. And that's exactly where the discomfort lives, because facing your own truth hurts. Facing your shadow requires a kind of courage that not everyone is ready to have. At this point, the emptiness stops being just an annoying feeling and turns into a scream, a silent scream that echoes every time you wake up and realize that despite everything, you still feel lost. And you? Do you ever feel like you're trapped in this labyrinth? Type it in the comments. I feel stuck. There comes a moment when the emptiness stops being just pain and transforms into a question that echoes from deep within, a question that pierces your skin, breaks through your chest, and rips straight through your soul. Who am I, beyond everything I was told to be? Carl Jung called this journey individuation, the process of becoming who you were always meant to be, not who the world expects, not who you were told to become, but who you are in your deepest, most authentic essence. And to walk this path, it takes courage. Courage to face your own shadow. Courage to let go of the masks. Courage to strip away the armor you've worn just to survive. And finally, learn how to truly live. But this path, it isn't linear. It's not always pretty. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely. It's confusing. It's painful. Because it demands that you descend into the basement of your own psyche. Face your ghosts. Face your traumas. Face the denied, forgotten parts of yourself. And slowly, piece by piece, begin gathering every fragment of who you really are. And as you start integrating your shadow, you'll notice something powerful. The void. It begins to change. It stops feeling like a hole and starts becoming space. Space for authenticity. Space for truth. Space to build a life that actually makes sense. Not for them, not for the world, but for you. And you. Do you feel this calling? Type it in the comments. I choose to find myself. The world taught you that happiness means living only in the light, only in love, only in peace, only in positivity. But that's a seductive lie, because life isn't made of light alone, and anyone who spends their life denying their own darkness is doomed to become a prisoner of it. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." And maybe that's one of the hardest and most liberating truths anyone can ever hear, because this isn't about defeating the shadow, it's about learning to dance with it, to accept it, to understand that it, too, is part of you, your suppressed anger, your unspoken sadness, your hidden fears, your forbidden desires, all of it. It's part of your humanity, and the more you reject it, the more these forces operate in the dark, shaping your choices, your relationships, your destiny, integrating the shadow. That's what turns emptiness into creative space. It's what allows you to stop fighting against yourself. It's what helps you finally understand. You were never broken for feeling pain, or fear, or loneliness. You are whole, exactly because you carry both, light and darkness within you. And when you finally allow yourself to be whole, not perfect, not untouchable, just whole, something magical happens. The void, it starts to dissolve. Because the truth is, it was never emptiness, it was overflow. Overflow of unlived emotions, of unacknowledged parts of you that were just waiting to be seen, to be honored, to be embraced. Does this make sense to you? Type in the comments. I choose to become whole. For so long, you believed the void was your enemy, a flaw, a crack in your soul, a silent curse, condemning you to an endless search, endless dissatisfaction, endless feeling of not being, not having, not being enough. But now, you're starting to realize the void never wanted to destroy you. It was only trying to wake you up, to remind you that you've spent your whole life trying to fill yourself from the outside in, while your soul was always calling you from the inside out. The emptiness you feel is the space that was left when you abandoned yourself, when you believed that you had to be perfect, pleasant, acceptable, strong, productive. And in that belief, you left pieces of yourself behind, scattered along the way, pieces that are now calling you back home. What you used to call pain was really just missing yourself. What you called anxiety was simply your soul screaming that it couldn't bear living numb anymore. And what you called lack was never lack at all. It was an invitation to remember who you are, because the moment you finally turn toward your shadow, the void transforms. It stops being absence and becomes presence. Presence of yourself. Presence of your essence. And for the first time, you understand, truly, that no one, absolutely no one, was ever meant to fill that space for you, because that space was always sacred. It was always yours. If this truth resonates with you, type it in the comments. I choose to come back to myself. Now you know. The void was never a flaw, never a punishment, never something you were meant to fill from the outside. The void was always a map, a silent invitation to begin the journey back to yourself. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, but who looks inside awakens." And maybe, up until now, you've spent your life dreaming about everything the world told you would complete you: love, success, validation, perfection, applause. But now, you know. True wholeness isn't found out there, it's born. When you finally embrace your own shadow, when you allow yourself to be whole, when you accept that you are both light and darkness, when you realize the void was never absence. It was space. Space to become who you truly are. If this message touched your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who's carrying the same void and drop a comment below. I choose to awaken. Make sure you subscribe, because in the next video, we're going even deeper to uncover how living disconnected from your own soul keeps you trapped in anxiety, emotional dependency, and self-sabotage. This journey is only just beginning.